What's up, guys? Welcome to the Deviant Gentleman Podcast. My name's Vext Vitko, alongside my co-host, Mr. Tommy Vext.
Yo.
What up?
Chilling.
Thank you guys for tuning in to another hour of American History Vext.
Jeez. Somebody called me Malcolm Vex the other day. I'm like, this guy is mad. Why are you so angry?
Are you angry?
I'm not angry.
Or you
I'm
fed
just
up?
I think I'm like everybody else. I think most people are tired of the bullshit. I think a lot of the expression of the protests are actually a diverted it's a diverted expression of the complete concatenation of frustration and bullshit. It's like a lot of people, obviously people are upset about police brutality and the repeated police brutality and that has been highly publicized in the media, but also everyone's losing their mind because we've been locked up for 5 weeks. People have been how long have we been in quarantine?
Started what? The middle of March?
Yeah, what month is it?
April, May. It's June.
Yeah.
It's April, May.
It's been a while.
2.5 months.
Yeah.
It's
been a while.
But I feel like the people that I know that are truthfully doing the best right now is people that have been in prison and people that are sober.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because it's like
I lived in chaos for so long, and I've been trapped in an 8x10 for years on end. So the fact that I'm at home with a clicker on my bed and I have donuts and can go outside.
So for people who are not massholes, a clicker is a remote control for your television.
Right. Yeah.
Like
that
what?
is the clicker.
Yeah, it's not the code for.
Did you guys call it a remote?
Yeah, the
New
remote.
York?
No, we had the clicker, but it's I guess I've been Californiaized or Californicated.
Yeah, it'll always be a clicker and a blinker. Put your fucking blinker on.
Yeah, so it's like it's like house arrest. It's voluntary house arrest.
It's so, and like personally, I've strived through this, and I'm not ashamed of that. I mean, why should I be? I suffered and was like in a shitty state for so long. So if I'm good now, I should be upset about that, So
yeah,
why
I was homeless, so I'm like, I've been homeless. I've been, it's just, it could be a lot worse. It's not so much how this stuff immediately affects me, but it's how it's affecting America.
Right.
And everybody.
And a lot of people, you can sit back and go like, oh, well, if you're already a billionaire or millionaire, like, who cares? This is no big deal to you. But for someone like you or I that, we didn't have shit once upon a time and we have, pretty decent lives now. How's that my fault? I'm supposed to be fucking upset about that? I'm supposed to apologize that, sorry that I don't live and fucking, shoot heroin and sleep in the same clothes over and over every night again?
Well, people also, I think that's just like a defense mechanism that people use when they want to win an argument, right? If they're like virtue signaling or they're like, I'm about this and your ideals are not falling in line with mine, so you're bad, so I must, attack you. And, it's just like, a lot of these people with their opinions are so. If our lives were switched, they would have been dead by the time. If they lived my life, they would have died at 13 or 14, right? Because the first time I got stabbed, I knew exactly what to do. You know what I mean? So I'm a survivalist. So like a lot of these kids, it's like it reminds me of like little kids throwing bottles at a tank. You know what I mean? In a war-torn country, like, yeah, good job, little guy. Like, okay,
way to go.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Did you ever take karate or anything like that when you were little?
It's actually pronounced karate.
Jesus fuck.
No.
Did you karate, fucking taekwondo, any of that shit when you were little?
No, we didn't do that shit. We did like.
I took taekwondo for like 2 weeks, and I thought it was so fucking weird that you had to be barefoot. I'm a weird motherfucker. Like, I don't take my sneakers off until like the end of the day, and whether prison instilled that.
You don't have
more,
slides?
I do, but just like, I don't know, dude. I feel like, what if fucking I got to run all of a sudden? Maybe I do something. I got to be ready.
But that's the thing. Well, so I would never understand this. So, because I grew up in Brooklyn, and sometimes we go to like Howard Beach and Queens and stuff and go to bars because they let underage kids in bars, and all these dudes will wear
sandals,
yeah, flip-flops.
I don't understand
like
how you go out to like kick it like that.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm like, yo, if you get into a fight, you'll break your toe.
Yeah.
But like, listen, that old New York Irish motherfuckers, these motherfuckers will fight you in flip flops, bro. They'll lose.
You cannot get beat up by somebody wearing flip flops and jeans, or you need to reevaluate.
No,
your life.
Aiden is not gonna win that battle. But
No, but like even when I was a kid and I would go to friends' houses and the parents were like, hey, you got to take your shoes off. I'm like, I'm kind of cool. I don't want to come over. It's weird to me to walk around in my socks in your fucking house. That's weird. I don't want to do it.
So you've never been to Japan, I'm assuming.
I haven't. I have not. So yeah. So anyways, I went to take Taekwondo and they were like, yep, you got to take it. And I was like, can I just leave my socks on? And they're like, nope, bare feet. And I was like, okay, this is fucking weird. And these pants are huge. I'm out of here. And
I don't think karate does anything.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's almost like everybody saw Karate Kid in the 80s and they're like, I'm going to do karate. And then like the jerk off bullies at school, if you did karate, they will fuck you up worse. You're just like,
hey, man, just because you got a bandana on your head and you know how to wax a car doesn't make you a fucking karate expert. Get out of here, Bruce Lee.
That was the best. That movie was the best for all the dads because they were just getting their sons to do free labor. You're like, yo, wax the car. You know, wax paint the fence.
And that's when all the fucking the strip mall karate places made the most money, like Rex Kwon-Do.
Was that a thing, Rex Kwon-Do?
Well, that's from like Napoleon Dynamite, but you know the places there's the Dollar Tree and then fucking Dave's Kempo Karate. Yeah, you know, $100 family plan.
Yeah, it was a nice when MMA came out. It was a nice switch.
Yeah. So people are stressed about the lockdown and the COVID and the fucking all this shit. So how does somebody strive and not just survive in this time?
I mean, you gotta laugh. I think laughter, I mean, dude, you're a comedian. I look at this stuff, if you watch the news is, I mean, it's a bed of comedy. If you have a certain mindset and you have, you're able to have I don't know what the word is because I don't want to make it sound like I'm saying people are not smart, but people are not smart.
Some aren't.
Yeah. And so when you see the headlines and the news is healthcare experts say that we're allowed to go in groups of gatherings of 12, but that's it.
Yeah, protests under 100.
Protests are up 100 or less. I'm like, do you think that the virus knows the difference? You think the virus cares about virtue signaling? Like the coronavirus is like, well, we're not gonna infect you guys because you're marching for Black Lives Matter. But if you have a fucking barbecue, you're all gonna die. At what point in time? Why are we even? This is my question. Why are we even listening to the government,
dude?
Why is anybody go back to work?
Yeah,
just go back to work.
Well,
fuck these motherfuckers. Fuck them. And what are you afraid of? You're going to get arrested? Listen, the police are busy with with domestic terrorism and protests and fucking car theft and destruction of public property. The police do not care right now about you going to your salon or opening your barbershop or the tattoo shop. Just go back to work. Yo, fuck these motherfuckers.
I went to Hi-Ho Burger yesterday.
Oh, how was that?
It's not as good as when you can sit down, but it's still good. But anyways, I go in.
We sat down and ate.
At the counter, yeah. This place is, dude. And that's why I'm like, so I go in there, and I don't have the mask on. And sir, you need to have a mask. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna put it on. Quick question: what if I said no? Are you calling the police? I'm just curious what the protocol is for me to say no. I'm not doing that. Where's the fucking menu? And he was like, we'd ask you to leave. I'm like, okay, yeah, solid. And then even in the waiting area and still cause now I have it pulled down so I can fucking breathe.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, sir, you have to wear. I'm like, who am I infecting, dude? I'm over here with the 4 people I came with and there's no one else around. What am I doing? Am I breathing on you?
Dude, this will go down. This will go down as the largest gaslight in the history of the world, what they've done. And
it's fucking
is the disease is coronavirus real?
Sure.
Yeah, of course.
But the flu's real too, and I do okay with that.
Well, the CDC already came out weeks ago and said that they were wrong, and America has officially abandoned the World Health Organization. So is Brazil and other countries because it's obvious that they're corrupt. They're giving corrupt information. They're also they're funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, over $1 billion have gone into World Health Organization from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And what the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation want to do? They want to vaccinate everybody. And I'm not an anti-vaxxer, but if the billionaire who owns all the vaccines and has the patent for the virus that's killing everybody also funds the official narrative of how many people are supposed to die from it, and then all these people that didn't die from that, not only of 100,000 people died, they said there was going to be 4.4 million people died, and we're still on a lockdown. I don't understand. And also, the other thing is that, dude, New York City has had no more new cases, but they've been rioting and protesting for 2 weeks. The incubation period of the COVID-19 is 12 to 14 days. So the hospitals should be overrun.
Why do you think more specialists, or what would you call them, doctors, guys like Dr. Drew, kind of maybe speak out about shit once in a while, but why do you think there's not more people saying this is fucking nonsense?
Dr. Anderson, Dr. Christian, Dr. Buttar. There are so many, they get kicked off the internet. They're not, they get deplatformed from YouTube. If you look at what happened to Brian Rose in London Real, I mean, dude, they had David Icke do a special, and I mean, look, David Icke is a conspiracy theorist. He, for all intents and purposes, he has a lot of ideas about what's going on, but then he kind of goes off into the deep end. He's like kind of like a kook, and it's just like for entertainment value only, you should be allowed to watch a kooky guy with his kooky thing. This is America.
Right.
Why would you not be allowed to watch that? So it's like, and then it's this misinformation thing. And it's if you basically, the reality is that if they're trying to silence someone, there has to be some truth to what they're saying. Right. So in silencing these people with these platforms who are speaking to millions of people, if you're silencing someone who's has millions of people listening, it doesn't make me think that they're a danger to humanity. It makes me question the narrative, right? Because if you're a gangster and a drug dealer and somebody gets pinched, what do?
Tell on them.
Well, no. If somebody gets if you're in a criminal organization and you get picked up and they're worried you're going to snitch, what do? You
shut your fucking mouth.
No, they get rid of them. Dude, I was in the witness protection program, and there was someone hired to murder me because my brother's affiliated with organized crime, and he tried to kill me, and I did something that he never thought I would do.
Right.
I testified against him. So
but
once I did that,
I think that's different, though. I mean, there's a difference between ratting out an organization and my brother tried to kill me.
No. But it's the same. The premise is the same. In order to save yourself from persecution, you have to silence. So they don't assassinate these people physically. They don't kill them necessarily, but they assassinate their platform, and then they go to work assassinating their character. It's a psychological warfare. Then, it's like. It's same thing with Trump. You don't have to convince everyone that someone's a wacko. Like if somebody's acting erratic and crazy, you don't have to like keep talking about it. It's like, is Trump weird on Twitter? Like, does he say crazy things? Yeah. Why are we spending billions of dollars to talk about it?
Right.
Because there's a bigger picture behind it. Because what happens in well, I could get into the whole communist conspiracy theories.
We'll send you into a fucking spiral.
Like, here we go, and then this happened.
I could just mention a fork, and you'll go on to a fucking.
That's true. Well, actually, the thing about forks
that's
is
good. Yeah. But how does somebody make money right now that worked at a restaurant? Like, okay, I guess it's like, how does somebody find a success in something different given the limitations? And is it possible? Why do some people become so successful at being entrepreneurs? I mean, does everybody possess that ability, or are people lazy, or are people not smart enough? Like,
I think we have more entrepreneurs than ever. I mean, if you look at Instagram models, right?
I'm a retired Instagram model.
I know, but I'm like, listen, I got to give it to them, whether they're just fitness or they're sex workers or whatever it is. They have found a way to monetize, and a legal form of sex work, and so, that's a job. And there are other people who make birdhouses and sell them on, So it just depends on what you want to do. Like for me,
But do you think
I'm
people
in
just
a
get
band
to
and I go on tour and I make music and
Right.
and like that's a job. That's like
right?
a
But then you
different
have
job.
to adapt. I think adapting to change. So it's like then you do these things where you do the live things through Patreon, or you're still putting out content. So there's still a way. Plus the apparel.
But
I
I'm
mean,
still
there's
doing but for me, we're a band, so it's like we have a thing, and because we have hit songs and we toured, I think it's more difficult starting from scratch,
Right.
especially in this environment. I don't know how, that's a good question. How can people start figuring out how to make money in this environment from scratch? Like, our friends making candles, and I'm like, yo, she makes candles. They're amazing. I bought 2 for my house, and then I gave one to my the lady I'm dating.
Yeah.
And,
well, I mean, I do a lot of things in person, so I had to learn how to do some stuff through Zoom and adapt to that. And then, with doing the podcast and, starting a line and doing this shit.
well, the podcast doesn't really make money.
I know, but still, it's still.
But yet.
Yeah. But, it's still things that take a shot. Like, would I have loved to, here's fucking $100,000. We want to pay you to do this and everything. Yeah, sure. That'd be cool. But is that the fucking reality? The longer I sit around, for years, I would sit around and go, eventually someone's going to knock on my door and go, we need you for Calvin Klein. We need you for a band. We also need you to run a business.
Nice.
Right. And you go, and then it never happens. And you go, these motherfuckers. Right. And I think
Even if you
people
show up constantly, it still may never happen.
No shit. But I'd rather take the chance and fail than fucking sit back and be like, I shoulda, woulda, coulda, what if? And, I just think a lot of people get into a place of like, I'm not good enough to do anything else. That's what I did, and this is it. Or I don't know. Do people lack ideas? I don't know.
I don't know.
Like,
it's easy.
To me, I would go like, okay, I'm going to make fucking birdhouses. I'm going to try something. I'm not just going to I'm going to make candles. Like, there's got to be something. People are still spending money, guys.
Yeah. I mean, I've done all this stuff over the years. I've had every kind of job, dude. I had a roommate. We tried to make cronuts. We like I started
cronuts?
It's like donuts that are croissants, and then we were like in LA, and we were like, they're from New York. We got to make these here.
Yeah.
And then it was like this. I gained like 40 pounds trying to cook every day. We were trying to perfect this recipe, and he's testing
They're
on me.
so fucking
I
good.
keep getting fat, and
How
he's
many
just
have we
like,
sold?
Yeah,
none.
None. He's like, let's just bring them and give them out.
But
to the
I mean,
place.
it's even the thing of like, not the mindset of like, how do I become a millionaire, but how do I pay my rent? How do I have money for this? And it's like,
it's about it. Don't shortchange that.
Well, not shortchanging.
Let me say this: if you want to be a millionaire, you have to make a certain amount of money every single day, and you don't have to feel bad about having that as a goal.
Yeah, and I don't, but I also think
you have to make $7,291 a day for 365 days in order to be a millionaire.
All right, so I'm only.
I believe I might be a few numbers off.
So I'm about 7,730 short. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, dope.
But if you, yeah, I don't know the answer. That's a good.
Why not, dude? You have all the fucking answers. You're the go-to. You're my new higher power, dude.
I'm not a fuck.
Malcolm Vext. Hit me with some fucking knowledge, dude.
I just think this is a couple things.
Well, it's not even that. You
asked me a question and then you don't let me fucking talk.
Opinion.
Look at this.
Well, you
guy.
just said I don't have a fucking answer, is what you said.
Well, I'm giving you the answer that I best can for for people. Is this? It's a combination of things. If you're gonna do something, you have to love it, right? So you have to pick something that you love and are passionate about, because you will get burnt out. It has been 23 years for me to 24 years for me to actually do anything legitimate in music, right? And it was like, dude, during that time there was drug addiction and homelessness and dereliction and witness protection program and almost being murdered. But I always had this idea in my mind. And there are certain principles, like what other people think of me is not my reality. Right. And so it's like Jay-Z says, you already were who you were before you got here. So I've always been this way. Like, it's like you look at my Facebook from 6-7 years ago, and I'm talking about the same shit because that's who I am.
Right.
And I think that too many people are obsessed with the pursuit of happiness, and they forget to have happiness in the pursuit. I enjoy the grind. I like it. I'm like, yo, I like to work. I like to work so much that it actually it threatens people that I work with, and it hurts other people's feelings because we
know that.
But it just is what it is. Like, you have to get addicted to winning. And once you win, like you keep failing. Don't quit before the miracle happens, but don't quit after the miracle happens, because that's when the real shit starts. Once you have that opportunity and you taste what it's like I've had so many awakening moments to like what I want to be and do. One of them was having to, sing for Five Finger Death Punch. And it was a terrible circumstance, and the singer had to go to the hospital, and he was having problems with addiction and all that stuff. And they asked me to sing. And the best way to, in a pop culture sense, to explain that moment is anybody who's seen Avengers Endgame, when Thanos is beating up Thor and he's almost about to kill Thor, and the hammer raises up and it goes to Captain America. That's the moment when I realized I was worthy. When I stood on stage in front of 300,000 German fans screaming and did the show, and they accepted me as a replacement. Right. And I was like, I deserve to be here.
Fucking right.
But that's the process. For some of us, it's like opening the gym, or like opening up your own mechanic shop, or you finally get in the black when you're making your art and selling it online, whether it's teapots or coffee mugs or banners and flag, whatever it is. Or when you get your first 1 million followers on YouTube, or like all these little moments of, these are the small celebrations, and the recognition of the small celebrations are the constant motivators. It's gas in the tank. And the way that
was 500 subscribers for me.
It doesn't matter
I know.
However big or
the
however
fact that
small.
500 people give a fuck about what I have to say or are interested. Hey man, that's way more than what was happening a couple years ago in my life.
I mean, dude, like I played CBGBs when I was 14 years old, and I was like, I did it.
Right.
And I was 14. I got a fake ID. I was hustling, stealing, like lying just to get to play a show. We stole my friend's mom's car. Like, we had to put the gear in. They were like, you guys can't come in here. We're like, we have to play, bro. It's like all that. And I didn't go to the prom. I didn't finish high school. I didn't do all that stuff.
Me too.
But I played the show.
At prom?
No, I just played the show. Like I did the gig. I got to open for this band. I got to open for that band. And that was more important to me, because that's who I am. So whatever you are, just be it.
Except a white supremacist.
If you listen, no, if you are like this,
be good at it.
This is the other thing too. Listen, if you're racist, just fucking be racist, man. Like, I don't fucking care.
That's what I used to tell guys with like white pride tattoos. I'd be like, hey man, go all in and put white power.
Well, the whole thing is like,
don't be looking at my fucking arms, guy.
I know, I'm looking at
don't worry about
your tattoos are disgraceful, bro. They look terrible.
Yeah, well,
I got a guy.
That's what prison will do for you.
I know. When that podcast takes off, we're gonna get you some A-list tattoo artists, like all the rich kids do. I got pretty bad tattoos too. Yeah, anyway, let's go. Let's move right along.
Moving along.
If you're gonna be racist, just be racist. Don't be
awesome
fake racist. Like,
be fucking full on, dude.
Just do it.
All right.
It's like going to fucking rehab for weed. I always get mad at those people, but it's true. Hey man, if you can't handle the pot, you're like, okay, cool. I'm like, you ever smoke crack, bro?
So I think there's I was reading an article about prison and recidivism rates and shit like that, and over a 9-year study from 2010 to 2019, violent offender recidivism for state prisoners was 83%, federal was 64%. Now, somewhere in there they had the
Is
races.
that regional or is that the whole country?
I think the whole country.
Okay.
So they did it for state and federal violent offenders. They had drug offenders.
Those are not good numbers.
It's not, and honestly, as far as race goes, it was pretty split equally between. Didn't matter if you were white, Hispanic, or black. Like it was pretty. It might have been 42, whatever the fuck, 48. Or I'm not awesome at math. So,
do you think it's because of the institutionalization purely?
Let me give you one more thing real quick. 45% were arrested within the first year of release. Analysis from 2015 to 16 was the ones that was CBT, so cognitive behavioral therapy, the ones that did these programs, it made no difference. Why? So in my own experience, and this is what I often wonder is I know a lot of kids that I've done time with that go back and back and they're on like the life installment plan. 2 years in county, 3 years upstate, 4 years upstate, 2 in county, 6 months, like over and over and over and over. And I don't know if it's because I'm a veteran and I had more things available to me and I did that before I truly started to fuck my life up. So it gave me a little bit of I have some resources because, you know, when I talk to people and, you know, if I'm a violent ex-offender, which I am, and I get out and I want to get a job and everywhere's, you know, they can't do the ask if you're a felon anymore, apparently, and all this shit, but they still find out. And, you know, I think people just give up. It's like, what am I supposed to do? All I can be is a good fucking criminal. So you can teach me. And plus, like when people like, you should do breath work in prison, it's like, okay, that's cool. But let me explain something to you. The last place I was willing to work on myself and start to get vulnerable was in state prison. I'm not going to be in a maximum security prison talking about my feelings.
Yeah, it's not not a safe environment.
You catch me at the pre-release, I might start considering it. Now, the problem is we get so many guys that go to maximum security and just wrap up right to the street. That's it. There's no buffer zone. It's just maximum security society.
Yeah.
And you get shocked. I mean, I even went down to a medium and wrapped up from there. And it was a while, man, like a full year before like it became normal, you know? So I don't really know. I don't know what else can be offered. And I feel like you said the thing about being burnt out. Now, if I'm working in a prison and these guys are constantly fucking around and constantly doing, I mean, it's like in my first year, I'm giving it my all. And maybe I'm going to get through to one of these guys. And once I see the same guys over, it's the same thing I work in treatment. It I need to take these breaks here and there because you get to this point of going, fuck, man, am I not making a difference? Is there, you know, I'm getting burnt out doing what I do.
Well, I think it's.
And I think they stopped caring.
Well, the reality is that correctional facilities are not corrective.
Right.
They're not. And that goes back to the 13th Amendment and the industrialized prison complex, which is the prison is privatized. And there's a lot of fucked up, you know, this affects the African American community too, but it affects anyone who makes mistakes, you know? And so there are different, you know, the prisons have to be a certain percent full. So the wardens have to keep the prison population full, or they owe millions of dollars to the state. So these are this is like it's like how there's no incentive for rehabilitation,
right?
Because they're making millions and millions and millions of dollars having people stay in jail. They're also getting labor cents on the dollar. Like Ice-T just posted a whole list of companies that use prisoners. They get labor from prison.
Right.
And people, and asking people, calling for people to boycott these companies because it's not right. It's not right. So they're not going to be, there is no, you know, that's the fucked up thing about prison is that there is no incentive for correctional facilities to correct behavior. And because systemically they're making money off the prisons being full, they don't want you to get better.
Right.
Before they put you out into society again, because you're just another light bulb for the matrix. If you go like countries like Sweden, you know, if you murder somebody, the maximum you can get is 20 years.
Yeah. But you know what the crime rate there is so low.
Yeah, but the thing is that the correctional facilities are corrective.
Right.
So it's a different vibe, man.
We even in Mass had, like, they do it by a point system. So if you're going in for a violent crime, you get 5. If you get, you know, a D report for this, blah, blah, blah. So, and if you had 10 or 11 points, you automatically go to maximum security. So you're looking at somebody that has 2 years that could have gone to a minimum, done their time, maybe got work release and not been affected. Instead, they go to a maximum security prison where they're with the most violent offenders. They have to put on the toughest guy armor they have, get involved, blah, 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 do whatever. Now I'm leaving worse than I came in, you know?
Yeah.
And so now what's happening, it was 11 points was nothing. So you have all these people that were maximum security points, and they had to change it. Then they made it to like 16 or whatever because it was too full. And now what? Exactly like you said. Now the mediums aren't going to be full because everyone else to go to the max, and we don't have room, and we're trying to double bunk, and now they're stabbing cops, and shit's getting crazy. So they upped the point system, you know. And so what is healthy reform? Like why don't people? And so it's basically links to money then as to why we wouldn't copy places like Sweden or places that have corrective, things that's healthy reform.
I think it always comes down to money. You have to follow the money. That's like one of the major things. It's
But why does nobody fight that? Why don't we? Everyone talks about voting and all this shit. Why is nobody's platform to put better use towards mental health, towards reform, towards, hey, this is how Sweden does it. Let's mirror that. And I'm the voice for that.
Okay, because if it would make democracy prevail, and you would have, all of a sudden all corporations would have to be accountable. Why the media uses freedom of the press to gaslight and create circumstances and create narratives to incite. They're inciting anarchy right now. It's worse than it's ever been. And for anybody with common sense watching this is like, how are they getting away with this? But it's because the money. Who is going to pursue legal action against these corporations? Not the politicians, not Congress. They're bought. They're endorsed. The FDA. We have the lowest. We are the supposed to be the first world nation with the lowest quality of food per capita. The FDA does not police the food and drug companies because they're not allowed, because they're on the take. When you go to other countries, I travel all over the world. The food here in America, it's not good for you.
Right.
I am acutely
gluttonous
aware.
society.
But we put high fructose corn syrup in everything. We put hormones in meat. We put unnecessary pesticides in vegetables. We genetically modify organisms for consumption. We don't know the long-term effects of these things, and it's like other countries, you're not allowed to do that. And I've spent excessive amounts of time overseas. And you know what happens? I lose weight. I feel better. Yeah. I have a better attitude because this stuff, the food is affecting our mental health. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, as a whole, there is an extraction on us. And and this is just how it is. This is just my experience of the world. Is just, I see it. I'm like, oh yeah, this makes sense. That makes sense. This is, and I don't know if any of the problems are going to get fixed if we keep diverting the public's attention. Right now, everyone is like, everyone's on Black Lives Matter, and the police are killing cops, right? The police are killing the police are killing African Americans. There's been dozens of people who died as a result of the protests, the riots. Right. Some civilians, some criminals, some police. How is that? And the majority African American. How is that caring about Black lives? And as long as everyone is focused on this issue, which it's a small issue, it's an existing issue, but it's not as we're seeing it. It's being exposed. It's time for change, but there's a bigger play at hand. It's like, don't look over here, look over here. So everyone's like, oh my God, racism, because we've been demoralized so badly that even if you show everybody the truth of what's going on, they're not going to be able to receive it. And that's the thing. That's the serious issue. If everybody was like, why are we destroying our economy? Why? Small business owners, it said on the news, on several news outlets, that the medical community encourages peaceful protesting for Black Lives Matter. However, we strongly recommend that it is very dangerous, and this should not be confused with protesting the lockdown.
Yeah, I know.
So
and people read that
all
shit.
these people who are protesting, you don't realize you're protesting against a dude who got killed by a cop in Minnesota, and now you want to defund the police in all these cities and
Well,
states.
you see him
that
shame the mayor for not saying that he was. I mean, that's,
Because you
who's going to
can't-
go? There's no police here. Let's not.
Cool.
Let's be fucking realistic.
Well, how are you going to not have police considering all the anarchy and chaos
Right.
that's already happened?
just the people are going to police each other. Didn't we already try that?
Yeah, I mean, well, we could, and you know what's going to happen?
Yeah.
It's not going to go well.
There's going to be a guy with a tiger and a chain that runs Minneapolis with dreads, like in fucking
Yeah.
Walking Dead. But
So, wait, what the fuck was I saying?
Who the
There's
fuck
so
knows?
many things happen,
Yeah.
but the reality is that the lockdown is a destruction of the Bill of Rights. The lockdown is a destruction of our freedom.
do you think overall, though, what's happening right now has brought the people together and made us stronger? Whether it's white, black, anything?
No.
There's more of a social divide right now.
No, it's because anything I'm saying or anyone who says likewise, that there's a war on the Constitution and there's a war in America. We're at war, but we don't know because the United States has never undergone the kind of psychological warfare and the psyop warfare that we are engaged in. Okay, so this is an ideological warfare. These are communist tactics. Our country has done this to Libya. We did this to Iraq. We did this in Afghanistan. The CIA's job is to go into other countries when they have a dictator they don't like, and they turn the people against the leader. They create social unrest. People start warring. And then there's riots, and then there's unrest, and then we tell the world that the dictator killed a bunch of people, and then we overthrow their government, and we in place our chosen leaders who are servile to America.
Do you think that happens here?
That's
overthrow a government?
That is what's happening right now. And
Like
if
to the point of like Gaddafi or whatever, where it was like, he needs to leave, or
they're if we're not careful in the next couple of weeks, we will never have another president of the United States of America that has been voted by an election. 100%. That's what's coming down the pipe. And the DNC,
you heard it here first.
That's the thing. The DNC people, even my friends who are Democrats, I was raised a Democrat. But you can't, in good conscience, look at the behavior of what's going on and be like, this is normal. It's like the far left, the all right. We need moderation. We need common sense party.
We need more fucking hugs, dude.
Yeah, well, we can't hug people because
That's right.
But that's a
Fist bumps.
But that's a part of psychological warfare because they don't want
separate.
They want us separate from our family, separate from this. It causes anxiety. You have to have 3 hugs a day. It's clinically proven to have a good mental health day. People need 3 hugs a day, and that's how we operate because we're social animals.
I count our hugs as 2.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
But it's a form of psychological warfare. So people start to feel a sense of separatism. We're highly socialized animals, and we need each other, And even the thing about people are are marching and doing all this stuff collectively under a morally appropriate principle that is good and just. However, it is a mass distraction.
What's going on with the protests and riots and shit right now? Are we cool because the God's here? Like, I haven't, and that's the other thing. It was like COVID was crazy, the riots, everything was crazy, and now just nothing.
Well, now it's like
because the God's here? Or I'm so
no, but
confused.
the guards are here, and now it's like seems to have calmed down. At least it's calm in LA. But again,
and is that only, you think, because of the National Guard presence?
No, I think it's because 95% of the people who are arrested in rioting or looting were from out of state. This was literally from the police force, literally from the lieutenant, literally from the arresting officers that I literally call on the phone. 95% of the people who rioted in LA were not from the state of California, which means they were bussed in as professional looters. Whether they were independently traveled here
Is
or
that
they
on
were
Craigslist?
organized.
How do you sign up for that?
There is on Craigslist. Yeah, there are things on Craigslist where they pay you.
Fuck, I'm out of work. Where's
Professional. Well, of course. How do you get
professional looters?
Well, think about the long-term play of that. Like how you get a bunch of people who are out of work and then already hate the leader,
Right.
and they're like, "We'll pay you $25 an hour to show up to this thing and protest," and then the ads get deleted.
I should have gone down there and gave fucking wedgies.
Or,
All right.
or hugs.
Yeah, hugs.
Imagine
Hugs
if you
for
just-
the good people, wedgies for the fucking.
Imagine if you just started coughing on people, dude. It's crazy. Think about a couple weeks ago. They wanted to put us in jail for going to work. If you open up your job, you go to jail. If you fucking
Dude, I have to drive around with a fucking note that says I'm an essential worker and I'm allowed to be out.
But that's what I'm saying. You like if you went on the beach and you didn't have a mask, you get a fine. If you get on the beach, you get arrested.
Crazy.
And now they're saying we gotta raise money to get these protesters out of jail. What the fuck is
But
going
like,
on?
look at the guys in OC made enough noise and got the beaches, a little bit more open, and then little by slow. It's
Well,
like,
yeah, but
you know.
that's what this is, a diversion tactic, because there have been protests all over the country way before George Floyd was shot, except it was people protesting the lockdown and they were losing steam. And people start saying, fuck you, we're not doing this.
Well,
and the police said, we're not going to arrest people anymore.
Because I'm at a place where it's like I would love nothing more than to go to the beach and say, hey, fuck off, do something about it. I can't afford that, dude. I'm at a place in my life that I can't afford to be arrested for that and throw everything away because I want to make a statement. I can't. I'm a 2-time convicted felon. I just can't do that.
You're not the only one. It's everybody. There's nobody wants to deal with that shit. It's a financially extracting, taxing toll. And the fact of the matter is it's illegal to tell people that they can't walk on the beach. It's against the Constitution. We are now living, if anyone, I challenge anyone to a debate to look at how we are living in America and tell me that we are not already in a communist country.
Right.
You can't go outside. You can't do that. You have to wear a mask. You have to stay 6 feet apart from each other. You can't have more than 12 people gathered unless it's a protest for their diversion. Okay? You're not allowed to leave the country. If you go to another state, you're supposed to quarantine for 14 days. Where are all the dead bodies? What is going on? It's enough is enough. And honestly, every single citizen has to stop. This is bullshit. It needs to stop. Where and to be honest with you, at this point, with China invading India, I'm pretty sure they released the COVID-19 and they sacrificed a bunch of their people to make it look like they weren't the reason or that it was an accident, because they're a communist country, doesn't give a shit about its people. Right? They closed off all the flights to every other city from Wuhan and any place else in China, but allowed people to fly to America and Europe, where the other spikes were the worst. So explain to me how the fuck nobody's looking at China. They're a communist country, and we're literally dealing with a socialist communist infestation. The real virus is the psychological warfare that's being played out, and we're seeing our friends and our brothers and our sisters and our parents buying this information, losing their minds.
I've seen a lot of people that are a lot of people have become not friends over this stuff. I know people that have lost 12-year relationships with friends, people that are unfriending and all unfollowing, and if you post that and if you post this.
Do you know the last time that this happened in America? The Civil War. Do you know who fought for slavery? The Democrats. Do you know who started the KKK in 1856? The Democrats. Do you know who owns Black Lives Matter? The Clinton Foundation. Time's up, guys.
Yep, time's up. And with that, we actually have a real question. So let's do some gentlemanly advice.
Let's give some advice. People are going to watch this episode and just hang themselves.
Yeah.
Listen, guys, we don't promote suicide unless it's done by Hillary Clinton. Oh, my God.
All right. So Joshua M. sent me a message. Guys, if you got any real questions for me and Tommy, and not like fucking Tommy, will you go on a date with me or any shit like that?
They're not asking me. Nobody wants to go
But
on a
if you
date
got
with me.
fucking real questions, send them to us at Deviant Gentleman on Instagram. or you can send them to either one of us personally. So Joshua M. wrote me and he said, when you're dealing with issues or situations where you feel overwhelmed or stressed beyond your limit, what is a process that can help someone bring awareness or realize or bring awareness to step back and breathe and not react in an unproductive way? Because we had talked about, like, you know, change and stuff like that. And, you know, I guess, how do you make this pause when someone says, hey, go fuck your mother? And where once upon a time I'm breaking a chair over your head. How have I learned this pause?
I mean, one of the funny things is like, you know, that whole like darkness cannot drive out darkness. Like people, like, for example, you know, I posted things and people were like, I'm going to fucking kill you. And I laugh. I'm like, I already got murdered, like, by a real nigga. Like, you know, by the way, my brother tried to kill me. Black on black crime.
Fucking
my twin brother. Sick. You know?
Yeah.
So,
See,
anyway,
all
just
lives
throwing that
matter.
in there.
I knew it. All
Yeah.
lives matter. Fuck this shit.
No, nobody's life matters. That's the thing. What you realize is the fucking the governors and the politicians and the corporations don't give a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people are like, oh, the Matrix, like, you're fucking all the conspiracy theorist people are watching this after years and been like, you know.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I there's so many people I was like, yo, you guys are this is way too crazy. Like, there'll never be race riots. It's 2016.
All right, before you get fucking off on a tangent.
So
next.
before I go up on a tangent,
Pause. Where'd you learn to pause? When this fucking chick spit in your face the other day, where's the pause and not breaking her fucking skull wide open?
you got to play out the tape, bro. You got to play out the tape.
Play out the tape.
It's not worth it. Also, like, you have to understand that if somebody is freaking out on you, you already won. You already won. You're like, oh, all right.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's literally come to the place of I recognize these feelings in my body now, and then it's that thing of like my thoughts don't mean that's what I have to carry out. Like, I can't, when someone cuts me off in traffic and my thought is I should hit this motherfucker with a tire iron.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, I was like, if I think it, I have to, I'm doing it. Now
Yeah,
it's like I think it and go,
Yeah.
I have that thought, but I am responsible for my actions and I do have control over how I react to this. And
Well, you don't give your power away.
right, and I play that tape through. Maybe I win, maybe I don't, and then I'm victorious, and then what? I'm going to go sit in state prison probably for the rest of my life? I don't think so, man. You know,
Yeah.
you really, it takes playing that tape through. It's the same thing with addiction, you know? All of a sudden, when I think about relapsing, I think about in the beginning, in the first couple of days, and going to the beach and fucking a little itchy and everything's cool. I don't think about a month in when I'm fucking dope sick, shitting my pants and sweating and ready to fucking rob an old lady because I have to get high. And that's the tape you need to play through. Play that motherfucker all the way through.
I think it's also important to note the power of meditation, right? Because we have to. There's so much information coming at us all times, and especially right now, it's like very hostile. And so, quieting your mind and getting out of, like, our thoughts are not who we are.
Right.
And so, a lot of people that keep fighting and arguing, they're arguing from a place of ego, and you can't. You know, that's the thing with me. A lot of the things I say, I'm not invested in it because it doesn't affect me. It can only affect me negatively, to say the truth, at this point, because so many people are indoctrinated. So it doesn't really have to affect you. And whatever you're thinking and saying, you don't have to do anything. Like, I don't have to, just because I feel some kind of way, I don't gotta like go, you know, beat the shit out of somebody. It's
right.
just
Plus,
like,
a lot of times, if you're getting upset or getting defensive, it's either because it's true and it really hurts you, or it's bringing up past trauma. It's reminding you of the third grade. It's reminding you of your mom or your dad. And when you can bring awareness to, oh, I know what's happening here. This isn't real. This isn't my dad. I'm not giving you that power.
yeah, it's like watching a movie rather than being the actor in the film. Yeah.
So, so that's our fucking advice, Josh. And,
count to 10.
Yeah, count to 10. Do a fucking backflip. Hold your breath. Don't do drugs, and don't fucking hurt anyone. Yeah, I don't know. We could probably save this other fucking thing for something else. You know, we got about 10 minutes left. So,
Yeah.
What
You know what's a good way to, I just tell people I love them. People are like, "You fucking bear." I'm like, "Bro, I love you, man." They're like, "No, fucking."
Right.
And then I'm like, "Dude, I fucking love you, man."
Right.
Yo, I love you, bro. And
You know,
it's just like, what do you do with that? It's
Well, you
because
know
it's
what-
true. I'm
yeah.
like, I love you. Like you're allowed to be mad. Your feelings are valid, but there's a difference between my truth, and the truth.
do that again.
My truth, my truth. If you're a man and you say my truth, like you already lost.
Yeah.
You're not speaking my. I'm speaking my truth. This is more liberalized gobbledygook verbiage that is meant to imply that we all don't have to obey the rules of reality, of third perspective reality. Like, this is my truth, which means it's your perspective. It's not the truth. The truth is based on what we all see and know. This is a bottle of water. And you could be like, that's not water. Right? And the engineer could be like, no, it's water, because he can see, and that's third party perspective, and it makes it the truth. That's it.
But then I'm still going to go, no, the fuck it's not. You know, another thing is perspective, right? For instance, I walked into a store one time, and this kid was staring at me and like held the gaze for way longer than what I thought was fucking necessary. And internally, I was like, I'm going to walk back out there and go, what the fuck are you looking at? Now, I also thought to myself...
He was like, yo, Deviant Gentleman Podcast.
Right. So then I go, I had a shirt on that day, and I forget what it was, and I was like, I've had people be like, hey, that's a fucking cool shirt. So this is what happens in my scenario. I go out and go, what the fuck you looking at? And it goes, oh man, no, that fucking shirt's cool as shit. Now I feel this big, like a fucking bully dickhead, and I read the situation wrong. So instead, I see it and go, you know what? Whether he was staring at me, whether he was challenging me or not, in my head, he thought I had a cool t-shirt. My life's gonna be fucking easier now.
But that's a learned behavior. That's a thing. Well, that's like growing up in my neighborhood. Like, I remember when I first moved to LA, and like I went out to a bar with a bunch of friends, and like some guy was looking at me, and I threw a beer bottle in his face, and everyone was like, yo,
That's
what
good
the
conflict
fuck's the matter?
resolution.
What the fuck's the matter? But this is, we're talking about 12, 14 years ago.
Yeah.
I came out from Brooklyn, and I didn't know. And this is the thing. If somebody engaged in eye contact with me, it meant,
Yeah. You want to fight me or fuck me?
no, that it meant that something was like, it was a diversion, so somebody else would stab me and rob me.
Right.
Because that's what happens.
Do you think where we come from too, people get so small-minded of like, I know people who have never left the city of Boston. It's like, that's it. Like, that's all they know. And it's like,
that's their truth. That's why their truth is not the truth, because
Right.
it's only your perspective. I need to rely on, and like all of my points of views and all the things, dude, they're malleable. They can change. I'm like, convince me otherwise. I'm not married to any positions or information.
Right. I think that was my issue, is I was for so long. I was so married to this is how it is and that's it. And I had blinders on. And it's like, coming to California, I realized so much things of like, man, the world's so much bigger than that. Being racist, being all these things closed off for you because of your because of your sexuality. It limited so many connections and so many options in my life that I stayed in this miserable place with miserable people. And now I've been able to branch out and do all these amazing things with people, not based on anything other than, are you a fucking good human being? And what do I have to...
It's learned behavior. It's learned behavior. I remember I grew up
But so many people aren't willing to, I don't think, even learn that though, right? Or give it a chance. Because why? Why do we stay so stuck? You know?
I don't know. I will say this though. I had the same experiences where, and I've been in bands with dudes who are gay, and like, they're like my bros. I love them, man. And I remember, because I grew up in like hip hop, hardcore, heavy metal culture. In the hardcore scene, everybody was embraced. But like in the neighborhood, like you couldn't be gay because it was considered weak.
Right.
And then I when I was in my 20s, my early 20s, I might have been like 19. I got pretty big, and I started working at a club as a bouncer, and I like worked with a dude who was yoked, and he was gay, and I had no idea. And he was like, dude, somebody tried to hurt me, and this guy saved my ass. And then we became homies. And then he was like, yeah, this is my boyfriend. And I'm like,
sick.
Wait, what? And I didn't know. I was ignorant because I was pre-programmed from my neighborhood that homosexuality was a thing of weakness. And even the church, even like the Catholic Church, and it was just a thing. And so I'm grateful that I grew up in a metropolitan area where even in the early 2000s and 90s or whatever, I was exposed to so many different kinds of people, and that was my life. Leaving the nest and becoming a man was understanding that prejudice in general is a fallacy, and then you stop seeking the differences, like we talk about in recovery, and seek the similarities.
Right.
And what happens to me is, no matter where I go in the world, I enjoy like integrating and talking with people from different countries, from different walks of life, different races, religions, cultures, and that makes me grow. And what I found is that all of us want the same things. So that's why I don't have like, I'm not mad at people who have different political beliefs. I'm not mad at people. I don't want other people to change their mind for me to feel right. I don't care about being right. What I care about is that we avoid the extinction of liberty. Yeah. And because liberty is what enables us all to be different.
Right.
In other countries, if you're gay in Russia, they kill you. If you're gay in Iran, they kill you. If you're gay in Afghanistan, they murder you.
Well, it's like the chicks, like you can't show your face, you can't do all this shit.
So like all these people who feel oppressed or being, actually, a lot of people are being told they're oppressed. And it's not true. There is systemic racism and there's systemic oppression that is institutionalized. But that has to do with the banking system, the judicial system, and the industrial prison complex, primarily. It's not a societal issue. As a society, as a man who is African American, I've been to 48 of the 50 states. I have toured constantly for 24 years, and my interactions with people are do not imply racism, and it's wherever I go.
Is this the most racist place you've been?
Where?
America?
Yes. Yeah.
How about that?
America is the most racist place, but I experienced more racism growing up as a kid than I did as an adult because it has changed.
Yeah, I could have something to do with your stature also.
No, I mean, people do. Like, if somebody like clutches their purse,
I mean, it's the same
in an elevator, I don't feel offended. I feel sorry for that person. I'm like, oh, like,
but we still live in a bully state
know.
of where a white man would be more prone to say the N-word to a 13-year-old kid than someone that looked like you because he thinks he can get away with it because you can't hurt me if I say that.
But not really, because everyone has cell phones and they get filmed now. So it's kind of like, that's the upside.
That's another thing, these motherfuckers.
It's good and bad because people are using it as a weapon.
God,
and they try to...
the good old days when you could fucking throw somebody a beating and just...
Yeah, well, a lot of people deserve beatings, but a lot of people keep behaving this way because they don't
But
have
is that behavior
consequences.
modification, though? Because my dad beat the shit, kicked my ass, and he did all this shit, and I still...
Well, I don't act a certain way because I don't want to be treated a certain way.
Right. But I feel like a lot of... And that was another thing
that hindered my... But I also don't
talk
talk to people. A lot of people on the internet talk a certain way that if we were in a bar or something, they would get... They would get paralyzed.
But that's another thing that I have to remind myself too, is that, I grew up a certain way where you be respectful and you do this and do that. Does that mean that I sit in this holier than thou and I've never done anything wrong and I'm a great person all the time? No. But what it also means is that in prison, you don't bump into somebody and not say, excuse me. So out here, when someone bumps into me like it's no big deal and they just keep pushing, a part of me wants to grab them by the back of the head and go, hey, motherfucker, I'm not going to punch you in the face, but just know that that's not acceptable. But I can't do that because I'm not in prison, I'm not in Boston, and not everybody has grown up and had the same morals. Or
it's not about, well, it's the demoralization of American society. And I think that the way that I deal with these people is like, when someone trespasses me and I want to fucking equalize them, my relationship with God is like, your phone is like, don't talk about spirituality. So like, I have my own idea of God, right? And it's like a lot of the principles are mixtures of all different religions that I agree with. But like my God, like the spirit of the universe, is like the most gangster motherfucker of all time. And he's just like, he's the Don. And all these people, human beings, are made guys. And what do you know about the mafia? We can't kill a made guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just like, oh yeah, it's fucking.
Well,
and all day, every day, people are like, Tommy's such a nice guy. And I'm like, you are getting a pass because I'm a found man.
Yeah.
Like literally, that's
my
what it
logic
comes down
is
to.
that I treat people like that like children or puppies. So everybody that does that, I have to go, oh, he's 5. Can you kill a 5-year-old? No. And then, you know, I just go about my day.
Unless you're, I'm not gonna say it.
Unless you're a weird rapey type.
Yeah.
Anyways, all right. So you can find us deviantgentleman.com. We are on Instagram at Deviant Gentleman. Or on Facebook, Deviant Gentleman. Tommy's Instagram is at Tommy Vext. Mine is at Shane.Vitko. Send us your questions. Like, subscribe, comment. We love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. One love.
Peace.